Donald Trump done hooked up. Let's just make it clear, okay? He talking about people ain't getting food stamps in November and probably not December. He better get ready because it's about to go down, okay? What you gonna learn is you don't play with black people's food stamps, okay? So get ready because people about to just start taking shit.
Donald Trump just sparked a nationwide panic. People are saying if food stamps stop in November, America's about to explode. I'm not exaggerating. What you're about to hear might be the wildest reaction to a government shutdown you've ever seen. Government shutdowns have become almost a recurring chapter in American politics. They typically unfold when Congress and the White House hit a stalemate over federal spending, debating what programs deserve funding and which should face cuts. When that impasse drags on too long, parts of the government are forced to close their doors. We've already seen hints of this disruption, from the chaos at Atlanta's airport to employees skipping work, leaving critical operations in disarray. But the consequences now stretch further, reaching programs that directly impact millions of Americans, such as SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, once known as food stamps. SNAP is what's called an entitlement program, meaning that if someone qualifies, the federal government is legally required to provide benefits. For now, recipients will continue receiving support through October. However, that guarantee might not hold if the shutdown carries into November. If funding freezes, SNAP payments could stop. And for many families, that would mean empty refrigerators and impossible choices. In response, several states have begun alerting residents, sending precautionary messages to warn that assistance could be disrupted. While these warnings aren't confirmations of what's to come, they've understandably sparked concern among millions who rely on this vital lifeline.
No Marchman J. Trump, I'ma tell you just like this, what the mean? Who ain't getting that goddamn food stamps to goddamn November? Cause I'm getting my goddamn shit. I don't know about the rest of you motherfuckers, but I'm getting my shit. Cause I'ma tell you just like this, on Jesus Lamar Christ, I will be at Walmart with my steel toes on and my helmet, and I dare try to stop me from walking out that with my grocery. Baby, I'm 250 pounds solid. Baby, you wanna see a human bulldozer, baby? Cause that's what the I'ma turn into. If you think you gonna stop me from leaving out that goddamn store with my monthly groceries that I get every goddamn month, I ain't bothering no goddamn body, okay? Why the fuck is y'all bothering me and my goddamn food? Ugh, I'm just so tired of his big back, bald head, cradle cap having ass. Shaped like a motherfucker with any albino walrus looking ass. I'm sick.
She's absolutely serious about her SNAP benefits, and that intensity has created a palpable tension among everyone around her. On one hand, you have some shoppers who are on edge, fully alert, and making it clear that they will not tolerate anyone trying to take groceries without payment. They openly say that if someone attempts to walk out of the store with unpaid items, they will call the police immediately, as though the authorities are on speed dial and ready to respond at a moment's notice. These people are not making idle threats. They are reacting to a very real fear that, with the government shutdown looming, access to SNAP benefits may suddenly disappear, leaving thousands of families without the financial resources to put food on the table. On the other hand, there are people who are genuinely terrified by the uncertainty. They receive texts warning that SNAP access may be cut off in November, and that warning has ignited a mixture of panic, anxiety, and anger. Some openly discuss walking out of stores with groceries if their cards show no available balance, even mentioning that they might bring friends, family members, or relatives as backup. The threats of physical retaliation and intimidation sound alarming, and on the surface it might appear as bluster or exaggeration. Yet beneath the rough language and apparent aggression is something far more serious: desperation. This is the raw expression of human beings pushed to the edge, unsure if the system designed to help them will actually be there when they need it. The volatility of the situation comes from multiple layers of stress converging at once. First, there is economic insecurity. For millions of Americans, SNAP is not a luxury. It is a lifeline. Families rely on it to cover the most basic of necessities: food, the very foundation of survival. When the government threatens to withhold these funds, the immediate consequence is not just empty pantries, but real fear about how to keep children fed, how to manage health and nutrition, and how to survive in a society where the cost of living continues to climb. It is the immediacy of this threat that triggers extreme responses. When the very means to feed yourself and your family are in jeopardy, You see a side of human behavior that is raw, unfiltered, and driven by instinct. Second, there is social shame and stigma intertwined with the use of government benefits. People on SNAP are often publicly scrutinized, their moral character questioned by others who see government assistance as a crutch rather than a safety net. The tension is intensified when able-bodied adults, who could theoretically work or seek employment, are depicted, fairly or unfairly, as exploiting the system. In some cases, individuals proudly proclaim that they will refuse employment and continue relying on SNAP, framing it as a right or entitlement. This declaration often sparks outrage from the wider public and adds a social dimension to the fear. Those who feel morally justified may act aggressively toward perceived enforcers, whether store employees, other shoppers, or anyone who challenges them. Moreover, the political context adds another layer of intensity. SNAP is a federal program, and its funding can become a battleground during government shutdowns. People are acutely aware that when political disagreements stall budgets or freeze appropriations, the effects trickle down directly into their homes. This makes the stakes feel personal and immediate. The uncertainty caused by a pending shutdown is compounded by the rapid dissemination of warnings through texts, social media, and word of mouth. The immediacy of digital communication amplifies fear. A single message can spark a cascade of panic, encouraging people to consider extreme measures to secure what they perceive as rightfully theirs. The language used by people discussing their potential responses to a SNAP cutoff reveals both frustration and strategic thinking. When someone talks about walking out of a store with groceries if their card shows zero balance, it is not simply a threat of theft. It reflects a deep calculation born of survival. The government has promised assistance, the system appears to be failing, and desperate times call for desperate measures. The mention of bringing friends or relatives to back them up shows an awareness of social dynamics and the need for protection, highlighting that these are not impulsive reactions but conscious, albeit risky, strategies to navigate a system perceived as unjust. This situation is further complicated by the moral and ethical questions it raises. Observers may condemn such behavior as criminal or immoral, yet it is crucial to understand the context. Families depending on SNAP often live paycheck to paycheck if they have a paycheck at all. The sudden removal of benefits can mean the difference between eating and going hungry. In this light, the threats of theft and confrontation become a stark expression of fear and necessity rather than simple defiance. It is a reminder that policy decisions, especially ones that delay or cut essential services, have immediate, tangible consequences for real people. Another element to consider is the psychological toll. The mix of fear, anger, and uncertainty creates a high-stress environment that affects behavior. Studies in social psychology have shown that scarcity and perceived threats to survival can increase aggression, heighten vigilance, and push individuals toward riskier behaviors. The combination of economic precarity and social stigma can push people to consider actions they might never entertain under normal circumstances. The SNAP situation illustrates this principle vividly. A program designed to support survival becomes a flashpoint for tension when threatened, bringing underlying social, economic, and emotional pressures to the surface. It's also worth noting that the responses are not homogeneous. Some people advocate for compliance with the law, understanding that stealing or threatening violence could have severe consequences. Others, driven by panic and the urgent need to feed their families, consider breaking the rules. And yet another group reacts with moral outrage, questioning the ethics and work ethic of those who rely on government assistance. These diverse reactions reflect the complex intersection of policy, personal circumstance, social judgment, and human psychology. Finally, there is a broader societal lesson here. When a government program designed to meet basic needs is threatened, the effects ripple far beyond the immediate beneficiaries. Families experience hunger, communities feel tension, stores and employees face uncertainty, and public discourse grows increasingly polarized. The SNAP debate is not just about dollars and cents. It is about dignity, survival, morality, and the responsibilities of a society toward its most vulnerable members. The volatile mix of fear, anger, desperation, and moral judgment underscores how precarious life can become when safety nets are disrupted, and it signals that the potential fallout, both human and social, is likely to intensify if political gridlock continues. In short, her fierce commitment to her benefits is a symptom of a much larger reality. Uncertainty about SNAP funding exposes the fragility of survival for millions, provokes extreme emotional reactions, and forces society to confront difficult questions about justice, responsibility, and empathy. What may appear on the surface as bluster or threats of theft is, at its core, a reflection of real desperation and the very human instinct to protect oneself and one's family when the system fails. And as the shutdown looms, it is this mixture of fear, anger, and uncertainty that makes the situation so tense, volatile, and increasingly likely to escalate in ways that will affect countless lives.
Happens in November? Thanksgiving. Where are the poorest states and who are the poorest people that depend on SNAP? Red states and poor white people. Yes, he'll be cutting off food stamps, as many states still call them, to the poorest white Republicans in the middle of Thanksgiving.
Shutdowns don't have a party logo. They can happen under Republican or Democratic administrations, and that's part of the sting. Many of the hardest hit places are, in fact, Republican-leaning states. 10 of the nation's poorest states, Mississippi, West Virginia, Louisiana, Arkansas, Kentucky, Oklahoma, Alabama, New Mexico, Tennessee, and Ohio, sit near the bottom of the income ladder. 8 of those lean solidly red. New Mexico votes Democratic, and Ohio is a swing state. So this isn't only an issue for Black or Hispanic communities. Poor white families are on the front lines too, which has led some to argue that even leaders on the right, including Donald Trump, don't seem to be protecting their own base. At the same time, the crisis is producing raw, sometimes alarming reactions, people texting that benefits will be cut, folks saying they'll storm grocery stores and walk out if their SNAP cards show zero, and others threatening to bring backup to intimidate staff. There's also a sharp social sting in the conversation. One woman's boast that, "me and my man will go take what they need," draws criticism from listeners who assume a partnered man should be working, rather than relying on SNAP. While many of the women who threaten desperate measures sound like single parents who feel they have no other choice, beneath the bluster and crude language is a clear, ugly fact. When assistance disappears, so does a lot of civility, and the emotional, economic, and moral complexity of that fallout only deepens. And yes, it gets worse.
I got an email from EBT. I used to get $740 a month for my 2 kids, and we not getting EBT no more. They took the EBT. They saying I gotta work 20 hours a week. I'm not working for nobody. Get the fuck out of here. This is what Americans, taxpayer, work for us. They work for me. They gotta help me feed my kids. Get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't be quitters now. Y'all been helping us all this time. Now y'all wanna tap out. Get the fuck out of here. I want my EBT, yo. I want my EBT, and I'm not working for nobody. I'm a boss. What the fuck is like working when the government is here to help? Come on. Y'all send all that money to Iraq, Ukraine. Y'all funding all these wars, but when it's time to help the Americans, y'all don't want to.
A video recently went viral showing a man with 2 children receiving $740 a month in SNAP benefits, openly declaring that he has no intention of working while other Americans effectively pay so that he and his children can eat. This bold admission sparked a firestorm of debate across social media, conservative and liberal news outlets, and among everyday citizens, centering on welfare, personal responsibility, and the ethics of work. At first glance, the story seems straightforward. Someone is using government assistance in a way that appears selfish or exploitative. But when examined more closely, the issue opens a window into broader social, economic, and cultural dynamics that go far beyond one individual's actions. Programs like SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, formerly known as food stamps, are intended to provide a safety net for Americans in need. They exist to ensure that no family goes hungry due to financial hardship. At their best, these programs serve as a temporary bridge, allowing people to stabilize their lives while they pursue employment, education, or other avenues to financial independence. The ultimate goal is twofold: to help people meet immediate needs and to encourage self-reliance and independence. However, cases like the viral video expose a tension inherent in these systems. When able-bodied adults, who appear capable of working, choose not to seek employment, they challenge the balance between public assistance and personal responsibility. This tension is at the heart of ongoing debates about the size, scope, and philosophy of government aid programs. While some SNAP recipients comply fully with work requirements or voluntarily pursue employment, others openly reject these expectations. Women working low-wage jobs, such as at Walmart or similar retailers, often must balance multiple responsibilities, including childcare, transportation, and irregular hours, yet they meet the program's requirements to remain eligible. These individuals demonstrate that welfare programs can work as intended, supporting families without fostering dependency. Conversely, those who refuse to work, despite being physically and mentally capable, fuel concerns about economic contribution and government spending. Every dollar spent on benefits represents taxpayer money, and when it appears to support people who choose not to participate in the workforce, questions naturally arise about fairness, societal impact, and cultural attitudes toward responsibility and work ethic. Historically, some communities in the United States have experienced cycles of multi-generational dependency on welfare programs. Economic, social, and structural factors have contributed to patterns in which families remain reliant on government support across generations. In some cases, individuals have children or continue receiving assistance without pursuing work or education, creating cycles that are difficult to break. These circumstances raise difficult moral questions about personal accountability, societal responsibility, and the degree to which government programs should intervene. Critics argue that such patterns, while often driven by systemic inequalities, risk normalizing dependency and discouraging initiative. They point to cases like the viral video to illustrate how a lack of personal accountability, combined with available government aid, can erode public trust in social programs and generate resentment among those who work hard yet receive no additional support beyond their earned income. The debate intensifies when able-bodied individuals threaten to steal food if SNAP benefits are reduced or cut entirely. Such threats transform an economic discussion into a legal and ethical dilemma, highlighting desperation and risk-taking behavior born from perceived necessity. While some may dismiss these declarations as bluster or attention-seeking, they underscore a serious reality. Millions of Americans rely on these benefits to survive, and when those benefits are threatened, it can provoke extreme emotional reactions. The situation becomes even more striking when contrasted with immigrants who endure immense hardship to work, study, and build opportunities in the United States. Many immigrants face restrictive visa processes, long work hours, language barriers, and precarious legal standing, yet they pursue employment and education relentlessly. The contrast illustrates a crucial point about choice and opportunity. In a country abundant with resources, some Americans have the freedom to choose between government support and personal labor, while immigrants often have no such luxury and must work under difficult conditions to create a life for themselves. Critics of abuse within the SNAP system argue that personal pride, work ethic, and proactive planning to exit welfare should be emphasized. They contend that individuals who rely on assistance without seeking self-improvement or employment undermine both the intent of social programs and the broader public perception of fairness. This perception, in turn, influences political debates, often fueling arguments for reduced benefits or stricter eligibility requirements. While there is broad recognition that families genuinely in need deserve support, stories like the viral video can become symbolic touchpoints in wider political and social discussions about the sustainability of welfare programs, government spending, and the balance between aid and personal responsibility. Moreover, the SNAP debate exposes a tension between immediate need and long-term strategy. The system is designed to provide temporary support, yet when individuals remain dependent without pursuing independence, it creates structural and cultural dilemmas. Economists and social scientists argue that welfare programs should ideally serve as stepping stones to financial self-sufficiency, rather than permanent safety nets. The viral video exemplifies the failure to transition from dependency to self-reliance, emphasizing how human behavior and policy design interact in complex ways. Some participants in these discussions point to the importance of education, vocational training, and community support networks as complementary mechanisms to ensure that aid leads to independence rather than perpetuating reliance. The public reaction to stories like this also reveals societal attitudes toward fairness, effort, and privilege. Many Americans are frustrated when they see able-bodied individuals refusing to work while relying on taxpayer-funded benefits, especially when they themselves face the pressures of jobs, bills, and limited opportunities. At the same time, the broader context of systemic inequality, economic hardship, and barriers to opportunity complicates moral judgments. It is not simply a matter of laziness or choice. Many families face structural barriers, lack of access to quality jobs, and generational poverty. Understanding these complexities is essential to forming balanced policies that both support those in need and incentivize independence. Ultimately, the viral SNAP video serves as a microcosm of larger debates about social welfare, individual responsibility, and the ethical use of public resources. It forces Americans to confront difficult questions about fairness, opportunity, and societal expectations. How much responsibility should individuals bear for their circumstances? What role should the government play in providing assistance versus promoting self-sufficiency? How do social, economic, and cultural factors intersect to influence behavior, choice, and policy outcomes? These questions have no easy answers, yet they remain central to ongoing discussions about the future of welfare programs in the United States. In conclusion, the story of a man openly refusing to work while collecting SNAP benefits illustrates a tension that extends far beyond one family. The intersection of human behavior, government policy, cultural expectations, and economic realities. While programs like SNAP are vital for preventing hunger and providing temporary relief, they also highlight the importance of balancing support with incentives for independence and personal responsibility. The reactions to the video, ranging from outrage, moral critique, and policy debate to empathetic understanding of economic hardship, underscore the multifaceted nature of welfare in America. By examining these dynamics, society is forced to grapple with fundamental questions about fairness, opportunity, and the ethical responsibilities of both citizens and the state in creating a system that supports the vulnerable while encouraging self-reliance and long-term stability. The conversation is far from over, and as long as debates about welfare, responsibility, and opportunity continue, these issues will remain central to the American social and political landscape.